This is the DTV Digest, the podcast that brings you news and reviews of films which didn't make it to the cinema. And now, here's your host, Mike Parkin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DTV Digest. I'm your host, Mike Parkin, and joining me this week is Richard Hawes.
Hello, everyone.
And Stephen Lockridge.
Hello.
This week, we've got three main reviews to discuss. We've got a Western called Among the Willows. Then we have two thrillers, the first called Sorry, Charlie, and You Can't Run Forever. Our short shot is Lackadaisy. How do you pronounce that?
Ingenue.
Ingenue. And we're going to round off with our DTV throwback, Samurai Cop. And if I may say so, it's been a long time coming. Right, so without further ado, let's crack on. Our first film then is Among the Willows. John Williams must swallow his pride to partner up with an ex-friend in hopes of tracking down those responsible for murdering members of his family. Okay, so this is a Western. And it's one of those Westerns, unfortunately, it's something we get a lot of, where they've got the costumes, they've got the sets, they've got the locations, and they've got a very meandering and overly talkative script. I blame Bone Tomahawk, actually, for a lot of this, because that is a film that, seriously waxed lyrical for a lot of its runtime. And I think there's been a lot of copycats since, people sort of trying to follow the same sort of thing. This doesn't really have the chops, unfortunately. It starts brilliantly, I have to say. The opening shot really grabs you because it's this sort of Chris Christopherson bad guy kind of guy playing pool. And then he chews out his son, gives him a hard time saying, "Oh, you cocked up boy, you got to go put this right," and all this sort of stuff. He goes off to try and menace this family. And unfortunately, his posse are a little trigger happy, and he ends up killing them all, apart from one who he takes captive. And then sort of like the grandfather turns up, basically, and finds everyone dead. And it's him who's actually the main character who has to go and, swallow a bit of humble pie, talk to his ex-friend who is a tracker, and try and get him to try and convince him to help him find his granddaughter, basically, and track her down. As I said, it is very meandering, unfortunately. The action, when it happens, isn't terrible, but at the same time, not great. We will see worse tonight on this show. We will discuss worse action, that is for sure. Mm-hmm. But it's unfortunately a bit lackluster. The characters, the son of the bad guy, or any sort of menace he has is destroyed in his opening scene when he literally cannot control his own men. It's like, what the hell are you doing? You're shooting these people. Well, you looked at me funny, kind of thing. It's he's obviously shit scared of his dad and all this sort of stuff. So it's there are better. I do like westerns. I'm looking forward to seeing Horizon this summer, the Kevin Costner one. But this unfortunately doesn't hold a candle to that. So there we have it. That's Among the Willows. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10 for effort. Basically, if you like westerns and you want to see a bit, go for it. But I found it a bit lackluster myself. 6 out of 10 for Among the Willows. Go check it out. Our next film is Sorry, Charlie. A remote helpline volunteer is targeted by a stranger who lures women from their homes for the recording of a crying baby. Now, this film starts with a bit of a sort of text scroll, which says that, the sound of a crying baby is one of those things you just cannot ignore. And I'm inclined to agree. It's really going to sort of kick into a woman's maternal instincts, that more often than not, sorry, Shane. And especially if you're living somewhere kind of remote, you might be really sort of perturbed to hear a baby crying in the night, think, where the hell is that coming from? It might be someone really in distress. So as you can imagine, for this particular stalker kind of guy, it works a treat. And it does work on our heroine in this. She is one of his victims who survived. She's now carrying his child because that's his thing. He likes to rape women. And then when they're nearly about to give birth, that's when he turns up again and starts stalking them. In the 9 months leading up to the incidents in the film, she's taken this job as a care worker, sort of helpline volunteer, but at the same time she's on the phone to her own therapist about the situation, and there's this sort of consensus that maybe this guy's already been caught or killed, or he's disappeared because he hasn't. No one's heard of him for like 8 months or so. But she knows better. She's always expecting him to sort of turn up. I did like this a lot. With one reservation, which I'll come back to in a bit. This is directed by a guy called Colton Tran, who we've covered before with the Randy Couture horror movie called The Bellkeeper. That was the same director.
Yes.
Interestingly, that seems to have been delayed coming out. So we've ended up sort of already seen that, and then this one's going to come out before The Bellkeeper, I think.
Bellkeeper came out like a couple of weeks ago, so it's very, very recently. I think it was held back at like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, hotness coattails, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's a good standard here, basically, with both films. I thought there's a pretty decent standard. I will come on to one thing in a minute, but first, Steve, what did you make of Sorry, Charlie?
I really enjoyed this, actually. It's very short. I think it's only about 75 minutes, if I remember rightly. Get straight into it. Don't mess about. Great performance. It's kind of like one of these COVID films that we keep getting. Like I can't remember what it was called now. The one with the girl on the Isle of Man and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. The telephone operator. Yeah, kind of like this is like the third one really that we've seen. I would have thought after the sci-fi one as well. Yeah. But I think she plays it really, really well. I think Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah. I thought she was great. The people on the other side of the phone calls are great, and I love the twist. The last 5 minutes, I thought it was really cleverly done, and it was something different, and I really enjoyed that. I'm glad you said that. I enjoyed the twist.
Yeah.
But and I'm not going to say which one it is. It's lifted from another film. Almost, scene for scene. Well, not scene for scene, but what happens at the end is very similar to another quite famous film. I'll tell you what it is off air. I don't want to spoil it for anyone else. But yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, what I did like is the design of the stalker.
Yeah,
that was quite original.
Kind of reminded me of the Black Phone.
Right.
That kind of style,
that. Yeah.
Oh, right. But yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me of. But I just thought it was really well done. And to be fair, it seemed more. It wasn't just a slasher movie. It sounds awful, but because it was more of a rapist rather than just a slasher.
Yeah.
It seemed more, not real, but more visceral, more got to my emotions more, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Rather than, it's not something you normally see.
Mm-hmm.
A serial rapist isn't normally
It's not high on the list. I think the last one was, what was that one with when Kiefer Sutherland was the total bastard? Was it one with Sally Field? It was Sally Field, wasn't it? Was it Revenge? Was it just called Revenge? Because he'd raped.
Is that Eye for an Eye?
Eye for an Eye. That was it.
Yeah.
When he'd raped and murdered Sally Field's daughter, and then kept on, getting away with shit. Yeah, that was. But this is more sort of psychological, isn't it? Because there is this sort of element up to a point. There's that element of like, well, is she just imagining it, or is she just letting her sort of paranoia and fear just get to her, or is there actually sort of something going on? And so that works really well. This was very good indeed. And as I said, we enjoyed The Bellkeeper when we reviewed it a few months back with Randy Couture. That surprised us as well when that went in a bit of an interesting direction, I seem to recall. So I'm totally on board with anything that Colton Trang comes up with. I'd be looking, interested to sort of see what he does next. How are you going to score it, Steve?
I'll give it an 8.
Okay, yeah, solid. Because of what I know about the ending, I'm going to drop it down to a 7. But this is very good, very solid stuff. A 7 and an 8 for Sorry Charlie. Go check it out. Our next film is You Can't Run Forever. A teenage girl suffering from anxiety due to a tragic event in the past finds herself hunted through the woods by a sociopath on a murderous rampage. I think we're 2 for 2, Steve, this week. This is very good. It stars J K Simmons, great actor, as we all know. Doing a great job as playing the murderous psychopath in this. And it is great. That opening sequence at the gas station, he's got no compunction about sort of killing people. It is quite funny at times when, he sat around this campfire and he's sort of like eating food, and the camera slightly pans to the left, and you see there's this dead woman sort of slumped in her chair. He just literally just going around killing people, but he centers on this girl basically, and her dad. And sort of chases them into the woods and ends up sort of chasing the girl. This is very good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. It has some interesting moments. We do get backstory to the killer. There's a sort of this almost like a falling down element to it, which I really liked. And also, the remake of Wrong Turn, the ending of that sort of comes into play a little bit as well, which I quite liked. Yeah, this is pretty solid. It's not just sort of man chases woman through the woods for 90 minutes. There is more to it. There is a character actor I like who turns up, a young guy who plays the deputy. He's turned up in other things. He was in the series.
Patrick Martin.
That's him. Yeah, he was in the series Major Crimes, which was the sequel to The Closer, which of course is where we get J K Simmons from. But yeah, I thought this was very good. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the first 5-10 minutes, you're like, "Whoa, shit!" It's quite. She comes out of nowhere. It's just, it did kind of remind me of Falling Down in a way, but just more brutal and just carrying on. And then I was actually surprised it went back into it. The flashbacks and stuff. I was actually quite surprised at that point. It doesn't come till about 3/4 away from the film.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I was quite okay, fair enough. But, now I get it.
Well, I mean, it gives the title a double meaning, doesn't it? It's not just him taunting her, "You can't run forever." It's also kind of him, his own sort of like in a dialogue to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Which
and then, like I said, the ending as well, I thought was really well done. Just something a little bit different rather than, all being out in the woods and, I don't know, shoving a log through his head or something like that. He was just...
Yeah. It's quite, because you think, well, he's been sat there with, there is that opportunity for him to get hold of her address and that sort of thing, and sort of double back. Yeah, it was all very good.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask if you. I noticed that Alan Leach is in the cast. He's from Downton Abbey, but we saw him in Cold Meat. I think it was Cold Meat a few weeks ago with the guy, the killer in the car with his victim.
Oh yeah.
And I wondered who, if you could recall his role in the film and what his involvement was.
Does he play the other? Does he play the other deputy?
No, he plays a stepdad.
Oh, the stepdad. That was it. Yeah.
So, shall we just say
he's
not in it very long?
He doesn't make it to the end. Yeah, but he is quite sort, quite a sympathetic and sort of charming character. They're trying to deal with, the main character. She's dealing with, a trauma basically, and the family is kind of sort of like, walking on eggshells a little bit around it, and is trying to help her, but it's difficult. So yeah, he does come across as sort of kind of sort of sympathetic. But he is sort of hitting his head against a brick wall until a certain incident, basically. So yeah. No, it's good. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this one. Directed by Michelle. Yeah.
AKA
Michelle Schumacher, who's J K Simmons' wife. Directed him before in another film. Does very well. Not afraid to make him look like a complete bastard, basically, which I thought was quite good. Yeah. How are you going to score it, Steve?
I'll give this one a 7.
I'm going to join you on a 7 for this. Thoroughly, if you like this sort of thing, I love a good what I call a survival horror movie, which is sort of like, people sort of stuck out in the woods and having to deal with like the outdoors as well as a killer or killers or monsters or whatever. And this is a sort of a good example. And I think it gets extra points for, actually bothering to give J K Simmons' character a backstory and why he's doing what he's doing. So yeah, 2 solid 7s for You Can't Run Forever. Go check it out. Our short shot this week is Lackadaisy Ingenue. This is a short episode about our sort of favourite animated moonshine bootleggers. Who sort of like in a garage getting their car fixed up or watching somebody get their car fixed up. And it centres on sort of the young girl who, possibly doesn't really know what's going on around her, hence the name Ingenue, which means a sort of innocent or naive person. And sort of the various conversations she has with characters we've met before. Rich, what can you tell us about this one?
I think you've laid the groundwork there for me. Really, I mean, it's we covered the previous Lackadaisy animated short about a year ago. Yeah. I think it was. I think it came out like end of March. I think March last year. 27-minute, classified as a pilot because they want to get a series going, and I think the series is in development. And this is kind of another sort of teaser for that. So it's a little what they class as a mini episode. I would call it a short film prequel to that film that we watched. And this one's only about 5 minutes. It's like a quick thing, but I think we all liked Lackadaisy, but had some reservations about it. But overall, we enjoyed the quality of the animation and stuff. And I think for me, I preferred this, the story in this. I thought it was much more easy to to get into, and maybe the, say, limited runtime perhaps, but I was really engaged with the characters and the sort of little things that were going on with, her sort of coming to realize, or maybe not realize, who knows, of who they are and what they do, and us as the older, more wiser audience, completely, seeing what she's getting involved with here. But I liked it. I thought the animation is the key thing. The animation is impeccable. But I did like the character stuff and everything else in this short. But it's fantastic to look at. I did enjoy it more than I think the pilot. But it's definitely sort of seeded my interest more for what will come next. And if it does become an eventual series, that'll be fantastic, because this is fantastically animated stuff.
Totally agree. Yeah, I was a bit confused as to whether or not this was meant to be before or after the previous episode we'd seen. I thoroughly enjoyed the previous one, although I hated the beginning. If it lost the first 5 to 10 minutes, that would have been excellent. The thriller part was superb. I just didn't think much of the sort of waxing lyrical bit on the bridge, that sort of thing. No, I did like this, and it did sort of capture the idea of like this girl, like, what you doing, kind of thing. And these characters sort of like opening up to her a bit and sort of actually talking to her. I thought that was sort of quite good. And then sort of like coming to their senses, go, no, you're a kid. You shouldn't be anywhere near what we're doing here. Go away. I did like that sort of thing. It was good. So Steve, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I like the animation style. It's just a little light. To me, it's just a little light 5 minutes, talking to these, obviously, well, not obviously, but I'd say more than like a criminal gang, really. But letting slip a little bit more than they should, but realizing, she's just a kid, but yeah, she shouldn't be here. I think it could be interesting if they do something with it. If they do get the series they want, or whatever they're trying to do with it, it just gives that little bit of, being set in like the 20s, and like, it just gives it that nice little bit of.
I found it a lot more. I found it a lot more accessible than the first one. I think if anybody's not seen the first one, I think this is a better sort of gateway to the world. I think it sort of eases you in a bit more than, because, like I say, I agree with Mike. I think so there were some reservations about some of the banter and the interplay and the sort of stuff in the first one that I just wasn't sort of latching onto. Whereas I really liked the sort of comical charm of the setting of this one. By the way, there's a couple of other Lackadaisy shorts, but they're only about a minute each. One's called Breakthrough, another one's called Stratagem. But if anyone's curious about this whole project, it's definitely worth going out and checking it out. Not just the film, and the short, but subscribing to their YouTube channel to see what's going to come next.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, so this is fun. Did enjoy it. I do recommend the other one if you but stick with it. Get through the first 10 minutes, and it becomes a cracking sort of chase thriller with a sort of shootout at a mine and everything. It is really, really good. But this is very solid. More sort of nuanced, a bit more sort of character development, using its visual style to sort of tell the story a bit. I like the bit where she finds the original door to the car, which has got all the bullet holes in it, and she's like really curious about it. So that was really, really good.
Anyone who likes old Don Bluth style animation, I think will love this. I mean, that's what this era. I mean, 1980s animation, which was, they did in the 80s. There was stuff that was being set in. I mean, Don Bluth stuff. Some of his stuff was set in like period settings and stuff, and it had like this, classical kind of charm to it. And I think this one's pitching slightly older. Especially not necessarily this, but especially if you watch the the Lackadaisy, 27-minute film. There's a bit more mature stuff in there. So this isn't for it's not a kids thing, but I think the people who grew up with that animation will absolutely love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't score the shorts, but we do recommend you check them out, and you'll find a link to the footnotes. So we don't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't score the shorts, but we do recommend them, and you'll find a link to this in the footnotes below. Go check it out. Our DTV throwback this week is Samurai Cop. Joe Marshall and Frank Washington are two tenacious police detectives who seek at all cost to stop the Katana, a renegade Yakuza gang composed of violent and sadistic killers who want to lead the drug trade in Los Angeles. Wow. What a film, guys. What a film.
It's taken a while to get to this one, but I think it was worth it.
Yeah. I mean, the opening, the prologue bit for a start, where the gang leader decides that they're going to sort of take out the Chinese gang and go wage war on everyone, and it is just it's the equivalent of white noise coming out of their mouths. Basically, It is absolutely terrible. It should be said that both Joe Marshall and Frank Washington are two of the most inept, racist, misogynist. I'm not sure. I don't know if we see any examples of them being homophobic, but I imagine them to be very homophobic, or at least homoerotic. But it is, a lot. Basically, there's a lot going on in this. It is very funny. So, yeah. Joe Marshall is the Samurai Cop. He's called the Samurai Cop because he supposedly trained as a samurai in Japan, trained with the masters, the martial arts masters of Japan, but it hasn't stopped him from coming back and acting like a complete racist to all Asian people. What's your name? Kawasaki, is it? Something like that? Yeah? I don't know. You all sound the same to me. It's fucking ridiculous. Frank
I think he was just doing that to get their goat, though, wasn't he? Rather than him actually being racist. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit.
Yeah. I think you might be there, Rich.
Yeah. Frank Washington is his voice. He sounds like the black cop on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
He really does. He's got that voice. It is quite amusing. There's a shootout at the beginning. These guys are the most inept cops. They're trading this drug deal. They've got a female helicopter pilot or something in the sky. At one point, Joe says to her, make sure you keep out of sight. We don't want to spook them off. She's in a fucking helicopter over the ocean. Over the marina, where she's supposed to hide. Is this sort of stuff. There's this shootout where they're sort of chasing the van, and a guy keeps sort of popping out of the back and shooting a shotgun, and
shoot him.
Shoot him. And it sounds like the training mode of like an 80s arcade machine, one of the shooting games. It's like shoot him there. It's so funny.
It's like where you constantly get the same instruction over and over again.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But yeah, lots of stuff like that.
It's not so much like just like all the dialogue. I mean, the bit where he's at the hospital with the doctor.
Oh, hilarious! Yeah,
she just like starts talking about the size of his cock, and his cock's too small for her, and just you know what I mean? It's just like, do you want to take me on a date? Do you want to fuck me? He's like, what?
Yeah.
But then there's another bit later, because where the female cop who was the helicopter pilot, where she's alone with, she's just there with the other cop, and she's like propositions him, for a joke probably, but she says, says want a F kind of thing, and I immediately thought of Jackie Brown. There's a scene with Bridget
Fonda
Fonda
and Robert
and
De Niro.
Robert De Niro, which is basically the same thing, kind of. And I did wonder, knowing what Quentin Tarantino's like, whether he took that as an influence. It's hard to say, but it's very not the typical kind of. I mean, the Shark Attack 3 kind of John Barrowman stuff is probably the closest that I can think of to those kind of exchanges. In film like this.
There's one bit where the scenes are actually out of order. There's a bit where their police captain comes in and goes, "You two, come with me," and then it cuts to them going to the hospital to see the guy they burned to death, and sort of setting that up, and then getting chewed out by their captain. It's like, oh, okay, so you two come with me now.
I'll be honest, the captain's the best one, isn't it? He's the only one who can actually act, to be fair. But it's just every single 90s and 80s police captain just screaming at the screen. It works. He's the only bit that works. It's so funny. I mean, they did it a couple of months back on How Did This Get Made? Have you listened to it?
Which one's that, sorry? Oh, How Did This Get Made? No, I haven't listened to that one yet, no.
Oh, it's brilliant. And apparently, the guy who's, I can't remember what's in Samurai, the actual main guy.
Yeah, Robert Z'Dar.
No.
Matt Hannon. Do you mean Matt Hannon? Or Matthew
sorry.
Correas?
Correas, yeah. Sorry. And apparently what happened was, he used to be Stallone's bodyguard years ago. And after they made the film, he wanted to be like this big actor. It never happened. He got sentenced to prison for doing a art gallery heist.
Oh, wow.
It's just, what? Yeah.
Now, there is a sequel to this as well, which I haven't. I must see. Obviously, different director, because unfortunately the original guy did die. But this is
an Iranian director. Amir Shervan was the original director. I think this was his last film.
Yeah.
And it was somebody else who bought the rights, but basically, I think ended up directing the sequel.
Well, from what I can remember, it was crowdfunded, I think.
Yeah, because it's only like 10 years old or 9 years old. The sequel.
Well, because the Samurai Cop, the first one, was made in 91, but wasn't released in most places until about 2005.
Is it another sort of New York Ninja job?
Kind of, yeah. It was one of these things that got bought up by a Blu-ray, put out on a Blu-ray, and gathered its reputation quite quickly, I think. But for the most part, people hadn't seen it because the reason this is very similar to the podcast that Steve's referring to. The reason this has come up and why we're discussing it is Rob Hill, the Bad Movie Bible, put out his latest story behind kind of video documentary focusing on Samurai Cop. 40 minutes documentary, very entertaining, well worth seeing. And I'd never seen the film, so I wanted to make sure that we'd seen the film before that. So yeah, there's lots of really interesting backstory about the film and how it was made. And the sequel end up basically after the popularity of the Blu-ray release.
There's a Riff Tracks version as well.
A Riff Tracks version, I think that's actually the only version you can rent here in the UK, because the version we watched the version I watched certainly was on YouTube. But it's not actually available anywhere that I've been able to find. The sequel is under the title Revenge of the Samurai Cop, but the original, I think you can only basically get it on import or say like YouTube and stuff, as far as I can tell. And the version that we watched was edited, as far as I can tell as well, because it shows as a couple of minutes shorter than the full running time. And when I watched the Rob Hill video, there was a couple of clips that weren't in it.
Yeah, there is some full frontal nudity.
I was going to say, was that because I didn't watch it on YouTube. Was the
Oh, you
nudity?
didn't?
Was the nudity in the YouTube bit? Or
No, it wasn't.
No,
No, I think some of the violence was cut as well.
Yeah, I must admit, I mean, it was quite violent. You know, there are some sort of quite mean and nasty little bits. There's, you know, the bit where they break into one of the other cops' houses, or they start going around all the different cops' houses, a bit like in Lethal Weapon 2, isn't it? You know, where they sort of start sort of torturing people and that. I thought that was quite good. I did like the way that Frank Washington got out of his situation. The other bit.
By the way, Rob Hill discerned that house belonged to Eric Lee, the martial artist.
All right.
Yeah, because he basically in the video sorry, I'm going to spoil the video, but in the Bad Movie Bible video, he goes through all the locations and how basically they reuse the same places for all these different different locations, and how they jiggled things around, and the geography of the whole thing makes no sense and stuff. It's very entertaining.
He's got a house on the beach with a pool.
Yeah.
Right. And the cop has got the really nice house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the criminal who's making all this money is living like a shithole. It's just,
it is quite funny because I think hello, internal affairs. We think one of your officers might be a bit corrupt.
He's only been there a week, bear in mind.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it your house? Well, I pay for it month to month. What? That doesn't even make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. The fact that, I mean, the scene, again, you know, the continuity sort of thing, because the scene before that is him leading her down to the beach.
Yeah.
To go swimming. And instead, you know, it cuts to them, you know, a minute later, and they're in the swimming pool. It's like, was the sea too cold?
Did you catch all the wig scenes as well?
The wig scenes,
yeah, because they ended up doing shoots, and Matt Hannon cut his hair, so they just went and got a women's wig. Brilliant. And they mixed up there's a whole lot of the scenes are just a regular woman's wig.
Genius.
And the wig comes off at one point in the fight, I think, with Gerald Okamura. Awesome. It's again also all this is detailed in the video for anybody who, like myself, did actually miss it on the first viewing.
Brilliant.
I'm gonna have to watch this. Yeah, Bad Movie Bible.
Yeah, Bad Movie Bible, the story behind Samurai Cop. We'll put a link in the footnotes below.
Yeah, we'll put a link in for sure. This is enjoyable. It's not a good film by any stretch of the imagination, but it is.
I really liked it. I did like it. I thought, you know, I like the music. I thought it was fun. You know.
Yeah, exactly. The music at times, it did sound familiar. It did borrow a few.
Well, again, it gives you that sort of New York Ninja kind of vibe of the, you know, the sort of synth sound of the.
They do borrow the Jaws theme at one point.
They do, yes, yeah. Oh, by the way, what about the crazy waiter guy they meet randomly?
I'm pretty sure he's meant to be like Filipino or something, and
I think he was one of the investors.
Right.
And so he makes little cameos in.
Yeah. What's your name? It's sort of some really unintelligible name. What's your surname? Oh, we don't need to know about that. Yeah.
It's like a scene from. It's like, what is it? A
very with
yeah, exactly. It's that sort. Yeah, I know. Bronson Pinchot. Yeah.
But it's got a very locally. What do they call it? You know, a very typical kind of humor. You know, you would see scenes like that in like Indian films quite often, where you just bump into this very, very sort of campy character and stuff.
It's like you know, Kevin Hart turning up in Hobbs and Shaw or something like that. You know, it's sort of a little cameo.
Yeah. I mean what else? I mean, say all the guy, you know, samurai himself. His face goes very, very red in all his fight scenes and stuff, which is quite amusing. I think they've used that on the poster and stuff. But you know, I think they're all giving their best shot. You know, I think Robert Zadar is really cool. He doesn't normally play with a beard, and he's got this massive jaw, and I think the beard suited him really well. There's one bit where he's wearing this kind of red shirt, leather jacket kind of combination, which looked very odd on him. But when he was wearing a suit and stuff, he looked cool. Because it was like he was dressing like Michael Jackson. It was a bit strange. Or Eddie Murphy, maybe. But
there was that funny bit as well, where they go to kill the guy at the hospital. I thought that was just great. You know, like he's hiding in that basket. You know, he just pops out with his sword. Yeah, no, it was great. Really enjoyed it. But even their escape from the hospital was just hilarious. It's like, hey, you come here, you know, bang, bang, bang. Just really,
and that
really
scene
funny.
where they're she's wheeling him away and stuff. If I recall correctly, there's no music there, but it feels like there should be.
Yeah.
It feels like there should be some like thriller music, and it's just like just going on and on.
I think there is multiple occasions where they seem to have got the music wrong. The whole shootout at the end, you know, it's got no oomph to it at all. It's just like, you know, lots of people dying, lots of people getting shot, or at least splattered with a paint gun, and the music just doesn't match. You know, there's no sort of like thrilling element to it at all. It's just like really lackluster, unfortunately. But anyway, we do not score the throwbacks, but we do recommend you check them out, even the bad ones. And this is one of those, you know, that does fit the, you know, that moniker of
so good it's bad.
It's so bad it's good. Yeah, or so good it's bad. That's for sure. We will put a link to the version we found on YouTube in the footnotes. We'll also put a link to Rob Hill's video diary or video essay on this particular film, so you can enjoy that after you've watched. So there, go check it out. And that is the end of this week's show. So thanks to Steve and Rich for watching these films. A couple of good ones this week. A couple of nice solid thrillers to watch. And a bit of a lackluster Western, unfortunately, but there you go. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Facebook. I say Twitter, X, and Facebook.
X. It's practically officially fully X now, because the URLs are all.
Changed the URL?
It's x.com now, yeah, officially. Right. It's not redirecting to Twitter anymore.
No? Oh, yeah. Well, I'll put Twitter in and it does come up as X.
Yeah, Twitter will redirect to X, but it used to be if you put in X, it would redirect to a Twitter address, but now it's just X.
Indeed.
Fully X.
Yes, so at the DTV Digest, you'll find us both on Facebook and Twitter. Also, the DTV Digest Short Shots, where we have a whole library of people's great shorts. Lots of horror, sci-fi, fan films, martial arts fight films, the lot. We certainly recommend you pop along there and have a look. Thank you for listening. Tune in next time.
Thank you for listening to the DTV Digest. Let us know your thoughts in the comments and tune in again next time.